Welcome, Legion. This week on the show, it's our part 2 of Comic-Con 2017. If you didn't hear last episode, go back, listen to it. That's part 1. This is part 2. It's a little bit different structure, so forgive us. We're just going to kind of jump into the episode right in the middle of the conversation. Again, if you didn't listen to episode 1, go back. What are you waiting for? This is not going to make sense. Go listen to part 1 and then come back because part 2 starts now.
Dad's home.
Hi, Dad.
Lord of the manor, king of the castle.
Well, that seems appropriate.
I am a dad.
We are dads. We are many. We are one. We are the Legion of Dads.
The Legion.
Dads.
Hello.
We are the Legion of Dads.
Join us.
The Legion of Dads.
An entire legion.
Great, Dad.
We are the Legion of Dads.
Daddy-o.
From now on, we'll be known as the Legion.
So we are many.
We acknowledge this is an appropriate metaphor. We are Legion.
We are the Legion of Dads.
You are not alone. We are all in this together now.
Speaking of houses, let's move on to House Marvel. Infinity War. Biggest news coming out of Comic-Con. Biggest thing sneaking out of Comic-Con.
It was the last thing they did, too.
It was the last thing that they did, and
not
probably
on the slate.
The most interesting thing. I mean, we all knew Infinity War was happening. We all knew that this was coming, but there's been some footage leaked out. Legion of Dads exclusive.
No, really. we don't have anything to do with this. We didn't.
And we may or may not have watched.
we may or may not have watched a totally legit copy. No, it was just somebody described it to us over their phone. So but let's say hypothetically we've seen the trailer. Richard, give me your thoughts on Avengers Infinity War.
The leaked footage, the leaked footage, trailer.
Yes.
It looks awesome, of course. What I love is that they are mixing everybody up. Just the whole Marvel cinematic universe. You've got Thor and Star-Lord. You've got Loki with a cosmic cube. You've got what do we say?
Doctor Strange with Star-Lord,
Iron Man, Spider-Man. Like everybody's in there.
Cap's got a beard.
Did we see Hulk?
We did see Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for a second.
Yeah, just for a second. But Hulk's in there.
Captain America with a sweet beard. It looks kind of like
Captain America's Nomad. I mean, it looks like
from
Nomad.
the trailers, there's kind of two wars happening. It looks like Captain America, Bucky, and Black Panther with a bunch of Wakandan troops are fighting somewhere, like some kind of Thanos's Black Order, or maybe more Chitauri or something. Who knows? There's one battle happening. Then it looks like another battle that's happening directly against Thanos with like Spider-Man, Tony Stark.
Oh yeah,
Doctor Strange, Star-Lord.
Thanos is finally in this movie, and he's got the majority of the gauntlet.
I mean, he's been in other movies, but in this one, he actually does something other than sit there and threaten.
Or grab a glove.
Yeah. Now he stands up. Now he stands up, and it's so bad. That glove is so bad.
that's a perfect meme.
It's interesting because funny to me, because my impression of it was the entire trailer was just a bunch of medium shots of characters that we've seen before. And then maybe like an action piece. It wasn't really.
But that's all you need. And it just finished production right before this is the same footage they showed at D23. And it wasn't on the slate for them to show it. I think the last second they announced they were going to show it like right before they showed it. But one other thing I wanted to mention before you go on, Wyatt, is that they did show a shot of Peter Parker. It looked like his arm stood up on his goosebumps, and the hair on his arm stood up.
Right.
Like a spider sense. And I know you haven't seen Homecoming, but there was kind of a lack of the spider sense in the movie. They don't go into it as it being in one of his powers. There's a lot going on in the movie. Right. So maybe they're growing his character along with his powers, which is awesome. And he was wearing the costume that he was seen at the end of Homecoming, which he did not put on. So spoilers if you haven't seen Homecoming. I guess I should have said that first.
Yeah, I think I should have said that before that. I think that's how spoiler warnings work. But you know what? We're still new to this podcasting thing. So moving on though, Thor Ragnarok. Now this trailer, I was extremely happy with.
Oh man, that movie
excited.
looks like it's gonna be just a great popcorn movie, man. Like, you're just gonna be on the edge of your seat, either laughing or rooting for something.
So here's my question. Yeah. What do you think? Like, we've seen the old trailer where it's Thor versus Hulk. At what point do you think Hulk starts talking?
Okay, so here's what I've done some, just from what's happened at Comic-Con and the panel, some of the things they've mentioned. Basically, the Hulk, Banner has been the Hulk for 2 years. He has not turned back into Banner the entire time he's been on this planet.
We see him in Thor as Banner.
Yes, right. So
But before his fight with Thor, it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
We're kind of if you know the comics, we're in what is it? Planet Hulk.
Right. Basically, it's kind of a mashup on Planet Hulk. What they said in some of the panels were that he essentially has about the vocabulary of a 2-year-old. I don't know if raging fire isn't a 2-year-old vocabulary, but that's what they likened his speech to. That he's been Hulk for 2 years, so he's learned to talk more.
Okay.
And that's why I think in the trailer you see Thor explaining to Banner what's been happening, because he doesn't remember. He's been gone for 2 years. He's been the Hulk. And I guess he doesn't remember when he's the Hulk. Who knows?
Or he's been on this planet. We've had 2 years since the last Avengers movie
that we saw him in.
And because the last time we saw Hulk, he was flying into
space.
Yeah, going somewhere.
He was going somewhere. Was he going into space?
We never know.
Well, here's what I think. I think the Collector, if you're Collector's brother, who's the
wow,
what's his name? The Game Master.
It's a deep dig. All right.
Not the Game Master. Jeff Goldblum's character in Thor Ragnarok.
Just say the Goldblum. It's fine.
The Goldblum. His character is the brother to Collector. They're this ancient race, and if in the comics these guys kind of grab heroes and make them fight. So I think it's possible that the Goldblum has taken Hulk and brought him to the planet to fight, and that's probably is going to explain what happened to him at the end of Age of Ultron. And then that's where he's been for 2 years. So just kind of, his name's the Grand Master.
Okay, the Grand Master. So looking at this, because we got to kind of knock through some of these. This is going to be a long episode. Thor Ragnarok, we're excited about. Is that something that
you can make it a two-parter?
That's going to be something for the family. To me, I saw that and I was like, that is bring the family. That one I have no qualms about.
Did you see the Thor poster?
No.
The new poster? I did.
It's pretty cool.
It's super. Yeah, it's got a good vibe to it. Really super colorful, like the Guardian stuff.
Yeah, Marvel's just killing it with that just fun. Check the worries at the door. Go in, have some fun. Grab the popcorn.
And something else that I read about the movie is that the director said that something like 80% of the movie they just improvised. It was scripted, but a lot of stuff that made it into the cut, he's saying that they just improvised off camera, like a lot of comedy directors.
Okay, that's a little scary.
Yeah. Well, as far as the dialogue.
Well, probably what it ends up being is that there was a lot of action. That means that there's a lot of action in it, and the little dialogue that they had was just glue to connect these.
Exactly.
we just needed a little glue to connect these two big set pieces.
But what about Thor at the end with he's full on Raiden there?
Oh yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need a hammer anymore. Hey, no, let's talk Ant-Man.
So Ant-Man, they did, I think, have some footage that was like a recap of some of Ant-Man's stuff done with a couple of the actors, but they did announce some new casting for the movie. First and foremost, Michelle Pfeiffer has been cast as Janet Van Dyne, or I'm sorry, Janet
right.
Van Dyne, Hope's mom. So I guess she would be the original Wasp. Also, some other casting.
Okay.
Lawrence Fishburne has been cast as a guy named Dr. Bill Foster. I'm seeing also listed /Giant Man here. So I'm guessing some version of the comic he was a giant man. And also Walton Goggins has been cast in this movie.
Shane
from The Shield, which is really cool. So I think that like this movie's kind of got a really interesting cast. Some great actors that I think are really comedic, but then some serious ones. So some of the concept art looks pretty cool. It looks like they're trying to, the first one was like a heist movie. So I don't know, how this one's, if it's going to be another heist thing, if it's going to just be straight up good guy versus bad guy, what the deal is.
Hopefully they'll get away from the corporate weaponizing villain.
Yeah.
Bald bad guy. Tired of it.
Well,
That's a constant. We need that.
I'm looking at you. What was his name?
Obadiah Stane.
There you go, Obadiah Stane.
Pushing past Ant-Man, they did also reveal some info about the Captain Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with Shazam, but Captain Marvel from Marvel Comics. The female...
Which one's the original?
Human...
Is Shazam?
I believe Captain Marvel Shazam came out first.
Or they renamed it or something?
It was a ripoff of Superman, and then DC got the rights to it. But anyway, so they released some concept art for the film, and she's kind of wearing her current generation costume for the character. If you're familiar with Captain Marvel, something else is interesting about it.
Well, not the current, because isn't the current Captain Marvel?
Yeah, this is Carol Danvers, not the.
Yeah, this is
Kamala Khan.
Yeah, this is not the. This is not the.
No,
this is not the current.
It is the current.
Oh, because she's Miss Marvel. That's right.
Yes, that's right. There's Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel.
And I only know that name from Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Yeah. I know it because I have the first 10 issues.
Oh, good for you.
So shut up. But listen.
Listen to me.
It is her current.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry. We got the misses and the captains all mixed up.
A couple of things they revealed about the movie. No trailer or anything like that because obviously it hasn't started shooting. Number one, it's going to be set in the early 90s.
Woo!
Number two, Samuel L. Jackson is coming back as a young Nick Fury.
What?
In some way, somehow. And he's going to have both of his eyes, apparently. Or possibly.
I say what, but they're doing a damn good job doing that these days.
As long as it's in short bursts, yes.
As long as it's not bringing back the dead, it looks pretty good.
And then the third thing that I thought was super interesting is that they have introduced the Skrulls as the villain. I guess they're going to play a little bit into the Kree Skull War. If you're not familiar with the history of Captain Marvel, some of her powers come from the Captain Marvel guy, who was originally a Kree warrior sent to Earth to investigate some stuff. And then she got some Kree DNA power thing or whatever mixed into her stuff, and
wait, hold on. My nose is bleeding from all this. Hold on, I don't like that. Oh my goodness.
Comics are weird.
Crazy.
So, but who knows where they're going to go with the origin? But the point is that like, okay, remember Ronan from
The Accuser?
Guardians? Yep. Yeah, he was a Kree. He's the blue-skinned race that is at war with the Xandarians in the movie. So apparently, and that's also where, if you're paying attention to the Marvel TV shows, that's where the Inhumans are coming from. They were originally created by the Kree, like a human experiment to bring out the best in humanity. So that's where the Inhumans come from.
And the worst, right?
So
Nothing, never mind.
And that's in the comics, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, gets her power from some experiment not an experiment, but some energy happens through some Kree technology, changes her DNA, and she has these powers. Well, it leads me to believe that they're going to be going into a little bit of this Kree thing because they've shown this concept art, and you can clearly make out that it is the Skrulls. And the Skrulls are like this shape-changing race in the Marvel universe of aliens, which has led some people to think that the fourth Avengers movie, which they've announced, could be Secret Wars, I believe, not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, which is where the Skrulls shapeshifted and replaced a lot of the Avengers with Skrulls. So, if you're a Marvel nerd, this is really some interesting news. But if you don't care, you don't care.
That's fine.
I'm eating this stuff up. This is awesome.
I'm excited that you're excited. And that's about as far as I can go. Do we have a lineup for... We talked about the DC lineup. Do we have a Marvel lineup, or is kind of what we talked about what's coming out?
Well, theirs is rock solid. They're still rocking on with...
They're still rocking on from like last year.
Yeah,
they've stayed the course. They've got the
post-homecoming
the North Star going.
I mean, Kenneth, you have it pulled up with Black Panther.
Now they've said they're never gonna do that again. They're never gonna go and make a big announcement,
a decade worth of,
where they say everything that's coming out, because it locks them in. And one of the films that was announced that's off the slate now is Inhumans, which is now a TV show.
Yeah,
right.
Which is sad. I really wanted to see Vin Diesel in a non-speaking role.
A non-speaking role.
Whereas the other one, he speaks one word or three words, but you don't see him on screen. I just love.
Yeah. So
the synergy just is too perfect.
So here's the lineup that I have, according to Wikipedia, which is what it looks like pretty accurate. So Thor Ragnarok is coming out on November 3rd, 2017. That's next up. Then February 16th, 2018, we're getting Black Panther. And that's going to bleed right into Avengers 3/Infinity War on May 4th, 2018. Followed shortly thereafter by Ant-Man and the Wasp on July 6th of 2018. Then fast forward to March 8th, 2019, Captain Marvel. And just a couple months later, you're going to get on May 3rd, 2019, the currently untitled fourth Avengers film. Then just a couple of months after that, they've got a Spider-Man Homecoming sequel. It won't be called Spider-Man Homecoming 2 or whatever, but
that's
an untitled.
That's Marvel? That's not Sony?
It's Marvel Studio. It's the same deal as Homecoming was. I believe Sony's footing the bill, but Marvel is doing...
Sony puts a little bit of money up front, Marvel makes it, and then Sony reaps some money.
Sony puts all the money in.
Oh, right? Okay.
Marvel makes it. They produce it completely. Sony takes all the money.
Oh, okay.
But now Marvel has the merchandising rights. So
where all the money,
the real money of the movie is made.
Then after that, just Spider-Man 2, July 5th. Guardians 3 is rumored to be the next film that comes out after that, although it does not have a firm release date.
Okay. All right.
So we're still about 2 years away from Captain Marvel and about a year away from Ant-Man.
So what do we have? We have Ragnarok and Black Panther before Infinity War.
Yeah, Ragnarok and Black Panther before Infinity War. So November, February, and May. Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War. So it's going to be like... Yeah.
Look at that. There are 3 Marvel movies coming out next year.
Yeah,
and then 3 the year after that.
Most of them are like 2 or 4 months apart once they start hitting.
Yeah. And like it's good for us who have seen all of these, but like if you miss one, like and you start falling behind, you're gonna fall way behind.
That's where I'm at.
I can't imagine
I am so far behind on all these movies, and it's kind of like, well, where do you pick up? Like I haven't seen Doctor Strange, I haven't seen Ant-Man, I haven't seen.
What?
Doctor Strange is on Netflix.
You act like just because it's on Netflix, I still have time during the day.
What have you been doing for the last 2 hours?
I've been talking to you idiots.
I just can't imagine like trying to jump in at Avengers Infinity War and like figuring out what the hell
Who are
is
these?
going
Why
on.
does the block make?
Well,
why does that cube make any sense?
Well, it's funny you say that. I from looking on the, I can't really imagine what it's like to not know because I've seen them all. But I do think that most of these movies, while they are connected a lot, and they do inform each other in terms of this thing and that thing, they do in the movie that they have it in explain what you need to know for that movie. So even if you were to just be like this straight up loser who never watches any of the Marvel movies, but goes and sees Infinity War because they hear about an awesome podcast that describes the trailer to them, and you go see it, I think you might not know at first who these characters are, but that's just like any other movie you go see. You don't know who these people are. You're waiting for the movie to tell you who they are. So
Who's that trash panda?
yeah. So I don't know. I think that
I get what you're saying. You just called me a loser. It's fine. It's fine. Talking about Netflix, though,
Right.
we got the Defenders. Another team up from
Yeah, we got some
Marvel.
good things coming up on Netflix. They released a new trailer for The Defenders with,
with Stan Lee.
well, there's that one, but the other one's better. With all new footage of Daredevil and Power Man and Luke Cage, who is Power Man, Jessica Jones,
Supernova, you Supernova.
Iron Fist, and Elektra.
Sigourney Weaver.
And
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver. It's looking good. All of them in one place.
Sigourney Weaver, the very familiar Marvel superhero character. Sigourney
Yeah, that's
Weaver.
right.
So
Ripley. No, it looks good. If you haven't been following all these movies or TV Netflix series,
Yeah, you're even more in a hole than you are with the movies.
I know. Well,
I guess that is the question. Like, can you just walk into Defenders and I guess we don't know. This is a trailer, so we don't know the first episode. Or are they going to be like, okay, this guy's blind and he's a lawyer, but he does martial arts.
Or
and he's
that's
really good at it.
Daredevil.
She's invincible. He's invincible. Yeah, that's Daredevil. He's invincible.
I think you could. I think you could walk into Defenders and just figure out what's going on. But if you haven't seen any of them, check out the Daredevils are good. Jessica Jones is amazing. The others are fine.
Yeah, I mean,
they have some.
like,
They have some
I
good
gotta
points.
admit, I
some
haven't
good
actually
moments.
sat and watched this trailer. I've skimmed through it, and I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. I'm glad it's coming out. Like, I liked Daredevil. I really I agree with Richard. I really enjoyed the Jessica Jones season 1. Looking really forward to season 2 on that. Luke Cage was pretty good. Iron Fist is okay. Like,
I want to see them all.
yeah,
fight
I want
in
to
a
see the
hallway.
reason why.
It'll be good.
Why this exists.
that is a classic staple of all the of the Netflix series, Marvel movies or Marvel series. They all fight.
Well,
in
but
hallways.
Daredevil did it so well.
Yeah.
The Daredevil did do it so well. It is very good. It's not my favorite hallway fight, but
Well,
it's,
and there's some better ones, but
maybe
man,
number
it's a
2 or
good.
3.
It's a good.
I gotta admit though,
addition.
I'm not like super hyped to see this. But man, Sigourney Weaver is great. I like Sigourney Weaver. I think that hopefully she's going to add an interesting element to this. Being that she was that for a generation, just like Princess.
And what character is she?
I don't know.
I don't know. Some corporate bad
but
guy.
I
Maybe
think
somebody
she has
more
something to
bad.
do with the hand or something. But I think just like Princess Leia was, Ripley was, that hero for a generation for young women. And I think that it's really interesting to see her now in this like villainous role. I love it when they take like someone that's well known for a great like iconic hero or good guy and put him in a villain role. So I think that could be really great. But I've watched all of these. That's the thing. I've watched every one of these seasons, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'll stream it. Yeah, cool. When it comes out.
I enjoyed Daredevil. I always enjoy seeing some more Daredevil. I really love Jessica Jones. I'll love seeing some more Jessica Jones. And Power Man and Iron Fist will be there. That's great. I liked to be honest, I liked the first half of Luke Cage. The second half of the season kind of went crazy. And Iron Fist, I just pushed right through. But we're back at it again. Now they're a team. Now they're fighting a bigger, badder, bad guy. So, yay. Also on Netflix, coming up this fall, they released a new trailer for Stranger Things 2. This is the thriller trailer, and
that was great.
It's really good. You got your Ghostbusters, you got your Vincent Price monologue.
Oh man, we watched
so
it, and my wife was like, she watched Stranger Things after we watched. She just watched it again because she loved it so much.
We're gonna have to watch it again.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Hey, let's watch Thriller music video real quick," because that really made me want to watch Thriller. But yeah, man, a lot of interesting shots in that. It's trying to see where they're going. It looks like they kind of go on the offensive. The kids do in some way.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think this is season 2, so this is going to be the Empire Strikes Back. This is the. But
it looks like everybody's back.
Everybody's back, but things are going to get, except for Matthew Modine.
Except for Barb.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Do you really think that it's going to go that Empire Strikes? It's the whole season.
This is going to be The Mist. This is going to be rough.
They said that this season's going to do some things that people aren't prepared for. So, but yeah, I was just really pleasantly surprised to see that everybody was back. Sometimes you don't get all the actors back to come in and, continue on with the roles. And I got to say that just made me happy to see all the kids back,
Oh, I think that the success of season 1 was so great, and it was so well received commercially as well as from the critics
and financially. I mean,
everybody wants.
I guess it did well for them.
Exactly, commercially and critically. I think that everybody wanted to come back, and the idea that I think as season 2 was a no-brainer. They definitely have nothing to lose by going for a second.
It looks like in the trailer they even had some pretty big effect shots.
Yeah,
they got some more money. I mean, there is definitely some effect shots happening that I think were on par with some of the bigger ones that happened in the first season, and we're seeing them in the trailer. So who knows what they're holding back on?
Yeah, it should be real exciting. Now, this is not in the rundown, or it's a little bit later, but I want to bring it up since we are still in kind of Netflix world. Bright, the trailer for Bright.
I didn't watch it.
That?
I did watch it.
I did
David
too,
Ayer.
and it's
David Ayer
Shadowrun.
He does what? He does.
It totally does look like Shadowrun. I mean,
it's a gritty. And somehow it's a real world gritty fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fairies and orcs or some kind of mystical creatures have now come into the normal world and have been integrated into society.
It is the world. I mean, that's the world they live in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the second
trailer,
trailer,
I don't know
right?
if it was always like that or if, yes, this is the second trailer, which goes a lot more into what the actual, I mean, it has elements of like Training Day in it.
Whoa! Imagine that.
It's David Ayer, so it's End of Watch. It's good stuff.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Well, I think I saw the teaser. I mean, I'll probably give it a watch because I think even if it's bad, I think it's one of these first really big budget movies that's getting released on Netflix. I mean, they've had a couple of their own movies, don't get me wrong, but this one's really been touted as one of the ones.
No, this one is definitely next level. The fact that Will Smith is headlining it is a huge.
I mean, they pumped some money, a lot of money into this thing, so Netflix. It'll be interesting.
Oh, you can tell it looks amazing. It definitely is not for everyone in the family, but but Dad is gonna.
Yeah,
like it. If you're into this kind of,
I think the day after this trailer came out, they asked Christopher Nolan, we were talking about Dunkirk on his press tour, if he saw the trailer. He said no, he didn't see the trailer, and he's like, "Well, you ever have any hopes of releasing on a movie on Netflix, a big budget movie?" And he was like, "I don't see why anyone would do that." So, and he left it at that.
Yeah, because he's all about his 70 millimeter.
Exactly.
yeah, you have to. He wants you to have to spend an hour online trying to figure out what theater to go to see it in the actual print that he shot it in.
Tarantino.
Not that I'm bitter that I had to do that. They're trying to figure out.
But it seems like
Dunkirk.
But it does seem like Netflix is kind of turning that on its head, and it's got some studio people really up in arms about it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this movie performs in terms of Netflix's projections, and see if this is going to be a new viable option for Netflix to really push that money out and get blockbuster movies streaming right at home, and can lure some of these filmmakers away from the studios with these high-end projects.
The only thing is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Netflix releases that information unless it's good. You'll never see it.
No, I don't even think if it's good. I mean, they'll just go, "We are happy with the
All right.
House of Cards, thumbs up.
They'll make some announcement if they're pursuing more films like that. I mean, no question about it. If it's successful and they're going to pursue to do it.
Yeah, if you see a sequel to it, you'll know that it was successful. Now, the real
Fuller
question
House
is
season 2.
Well, but the question is that the thing to get? Would that, I know we're all 3 Netflix subscribers, but would you get on Netflix for that? Would you recommend somebody looking at that and going after that? Me personally, the thing that for a dad, I would say the thing that I would point to as the biggest you need to be on Netflix is the fact that they have the Disney license or the Disney agreement, where Disney movies come out not the same day, but like within a
really
month.
Close to DVD.
Really close to DVD, where you've got that.
For example, Doctor Strange is on Netflix.
Yeah. I was thinking more like, Finding Dory and Moana and all the cartoons for the kids.
But also their back catalog as well.
Oh, is the back catalog on there
slowly
too?
starting to add different ones every time they do an update. I think they're adding some different.
Some of it.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys have Hulu, but there's a lot of Disney stuff on there as well.
I gave it up.
Yeah.
Oh, is there? No, I don't. Yeah.
That's before they had the Criterion, and then they lost the Criterion, and Criterion has its own streaming. I don't know.
I looked at that the other day. Criterion is still, it's a section on Hulu, and when you click on it, there are 0 movies available.
Okay. Yeah, so they did. Now Criterion has its own streaming service.
All right. Well, there's another streaming service out there that is, CBS Interactive. And that's where the new Star Trek show is going to be. And they had a presence.
Is it not on CBS?
It is not on CBS.
Geez.
It will be a
You just now heard
streaming
about
only.
this?
No, I must have blacked it out.
You must have.
Because that sounds like
It's one of the many really not very educated decisions. It seems to be connected to the Star Trek.
that sounds like
show.
that movie, that TV show. What was it? Powerless on PlayStation Network. Like,
Oh yeah.
who's gonna
Yes.
look for it there?
Really,
I don't
because
know.
the whole thing about CBS Interactive is that it has their entire back catalog of CBS shows. That is not. No one cares about that.
Oh.
I mean, there's a
Even I Love
small
Lucy?
people that care about that. Or is that a CBS
I think it
show?
was.
I don't know. I don't subscribe because it's the same as a Netflix.
I guess is it
subscription.
really? Jeez,
It's
I guess
expensive.
Trekkies.
It's well, and that's kind of a lot of people are up in arms about the only way you're going to be able to see this show legally is to pay, $8-10 a month. I don't know. I'm not even going to bring up I could bring up the website and see. I don't know. I just know it's around
this show
$10.
Let's be
already
honest. They're
screwed.
You don't think they're going to do the first episode free to get, give you that first taste?
They better. They
isn't this
Because if the
better?
first episode is really good, I would consider paying $7 a month to watch
That's the
it.
thing. That's the thing. It's like looking at this show, it is going to alienate so many old school Trek.
And I wanted to talk about this with you, Wyatt, because are you from like what universe what verse does this show fall in? Is this the
Well, theoretically, I mean, from my understanding, I've watched a little bit of and read a little bit about this. From my understanding, it is in the primary, the Kirk verse.
And this is like 10 years
the Kirk universe.
before Kirk? Is that right?
Correct. Something, it's before Kirk. I'm not 100% sure.
And what's their explanation for?
No, it must be, no, it's well before then.
Because it's not Enterprise. I thought it.
No, it's between Enterprise and the original series.
Because it's still contemporary with Kirk.
I could be wrong, but No, it is definitely not contemporary with Kirk. Yeah, no, it's an in-between Enterprise and Kirk. Because there's a couple 100 years difference between, or 100 years difference. I don't know. I don't know the timeline that off the top of my head. But there's a significant time frame between that. So the idea being that Starfleet is young and the Federation is young.
They're carving their logo into the side of planets. They're just
the trailer just kind of feels
what's really odd to me, and this is a spoiler alert, except I don't know this, but like I think Jason Isaacs, like Malfoy's dad, I think he's the captain of the show.
Yeah.
Like, so the woman, the female captain that they kind of portray as the captain of this ship.
Oh, she's dead in the first episode.
She Captain Pike's, early on. So and that was confusing to me. I was like, well, isn't she's not the captain? It's this guy, and then there's this other girl running around, which I'm fine with that because who was the main guy in Voyager? Like the main guy, like the lead of the show.
In Voyager would be in Captain Janeway.
She wasn't the lead. It was the guy that you were like.
No, in Voyager.
Yeah, like
Voyager?
like the pilot.
I mean, it was an ensemble. Oh,
well, he's not the pilot, but the first episode, you meet this guy, and he's on the ship. He's likable. He's there the whole time. Anyways,
Paris.
I don't know.
Lieutenant Paris, the navigator, the guy, the helmsman. That's the thing about Star Trek. Star Trek is always an ensemble piece. This one, though, from what I've read, they are going to focus on the female. She's actually first officer that's what she's on the original ship, but then there's some kind of disaster. They kind of show it off in the trailer. That gets destroyed, and then she is put on Discovery as the first officer. I mean, this is all theories, and I could bring up the show and give you character names. I really don't care, though. Really, this show has given me less and less.
Well, look,
the more I look at it, the less and less I'm interested.
You guys are bigger Trekkies than me. I mean, you guys have a lot of, you're very irreverent about some of the shows, and the redesigning of the Klingons. People are kind of.
Oh, it's CBS all access.
Now, here's the question that since you may know more about this show than I do, but going back to the release of it, do you really think that they're not going to release it as a buy per episode on services like iTunes and Amazon, where you can just buy an episode and watch it?
I'm not 100% sure. I would think that I would really hope that
because some of those episodes are like $2 to $3 a piece when you're paying $7 a month. I mean, you buy 2 episodes. It seems kind of like a good deal, but why pay $7 for the first month when you can just pay $2 and watch the first episode and see if you like it? Right.
Well, I think what they'll end up doing is right now they have a 1 week free trial. 1 week free trial.
Well, you can just now that goes to show are they going to have all the episodes there at one time? Can someone binge watch the entire season when it's over in the free week?
You know what they will do? They will one off this thing every single week.
That's how some of the other apps, like the Fox app and
yeah, because they are going to hold on to that model.
The CW
weekly
app, like they only put the most current few episodes up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're going to hold on to that model as tightly as they can. Yeah, so
I'll check it out. I mean, I like the Trek.
I mean, I'll watch the first episode. Yeah, because I'll watch any. I mean, I watched all of Enterprise, so if I can get through that,
You poor guy.
I'll watch this. And a lot of people are really upset about or have really strong opinions about the look of the show, because it is a lot darker than a lot of Trek has been before, just in the tone, the moodiness of the
when is it
stuff
set?
like that. From my understanding, it's set between the original series and Enterprise. So it's Starfleet's been around, the Federation's been around, but we're not to the point where they are
like all the planets are all joined up and.
Well, I mean, they have some of that, but they're just not as strong. And then this is the first real interaction with the Klingons and the beginning of the Federation Klingon War.
So then this could bleed right over into the original series.
I don't think so. I think that there has been quite a few years. I'm pretty sure that this happens on the primary timeline. This is not the movie timeline and stuff like that. I think that this happens before that divergence, and it's dealing with so theoretically everything should look more antiquated, but this is going to be the exact same issue that Enterprise had, is that everything looks way too modern compared to the 60s version of
well, do you think they're trying to appeal to the younger fans, new Trekkies that were just come aboard on these new movies? Do you think they're trying to appeal to
they're
more
definitely
to these
they're
guys?
definitely going for more of that aesthetic, because it does have the lens flares, not as much as the movies, but it does have the lens flares. It really does feel like a CBS show, which definitely has its own look. For me, a dark color palette on the bridge. Now, we haven't seen the Discovery's bridge, I don't think. I think we've only seen the other ship, which I'm pretty sure will only last about 30 minutes into the first episode.
Well, listen,
I do like the posters, though. The posters.
Does it look like it would be something
pretty.
that's kind of family friendly? Because I got to be honest with you, some of the fondest memories of Star Trek are watching like the original series or mostly Next Generation with my dad.
I am glad you brought that up, because I am really looking for a show to watch with the boy. I am looking for a show. I mean, we really like Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
I like cartoons. Those are great, but I would really love a live action show. We watched Star Trek Next Generation already on Netflix. He really digs it.
He stuck through it, huh?
Oh yeah, no, he's all about Data. He loves Data. So I'm like, who doesn't? But I would love to show him a new show, something that we could both get into together, that we would both enjoy, something new that I'm not just showing him. But I do want that, what you were talking about, something that I can show that it's not going to be, I want it to be complicated enough to keep me interested, but not so complicated that it's just people talking in a hallway for 45 minutes about their personal drama BS. And one of the things that I understand why the showrunners did it, and I'm interested to see what they are going to do. But one of the things talked about is that they are going to get away from one of the cardinal points that Roddenberry had about Star Trek, was that in the original series and in Next Gen, which you could argue Next Gen was the most true to Roddenberry's vision of what he wanted to have happen, because he had more control and over that implementation of that series. But basically the idea for Roddenberry was that humanity had fixed all of its petty problems, and that we still had issues with other races and other societies, but Earth and humanity, the Federation in general, had kind of gotten their act together. and there were problems. There were instances where you were put into an event that was beyond your control, but then you used your brain and you used cooperation and teamwork to get out of it. And that is always something that I really loved about Star Trek, something that is not really celebrated in any medium right now is cooperation. And
yeah, it's pretty unrealistic, isn't it?
It really is. But that's the beauty of it being in the future and giving you hope that eventually we would all get away from all this pettiness and we could actually work together and evolve as a society. The idea, though, I believe that they are going away from that and that they have actively said that cardinal rule, that touchstone that Roddenberry had is being eliminated for drama. And from a storytelling point of view, but from a storytelling point of view, I get that. It's really difficult if you look at any of the documentaries about the Next Generation, about the writer's room. Those writers do talk about it's very difficult to have people that have no problem in their personal life. How do you make that compelling? And how do you make the audience connect with that? I think that
Whoopi Goldberg.
I think that they did a wonderful job over those seasons.
Wesley Crusher.
Not now, Wesley. I think that they did a wonderful job at that over those seasons, over those 7 or 8 seasons. I forget how many there are, but so I'm interested to see. I hope that they maybe, that's not going to be your fixed rule that it always has to be that way, but give me something. Don't put Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, into my Star Trek. And this feels like the new Battlestar Galactica and Mass Effect with a little Mass Effect style to it. I mean, anything from because it's the first time I saw those uniforms, I went, Commander Shepard? What is this?
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Even the blue is almost spot on with the silver highlights. I was like, guys, come on. And then all the heads up displays and stuff like that look like they came straight out of Mass Effect 2 and 3.
Right. Well, I mean, the Star Trek, Star Wars debate's been going on forever. I mean, do you kind of see that this series could be the first in like a multitude of, marketing strategies for CBS to have new Trek? Like you mentioned, Star Wars Rebels. That's something that's been specifically aimed towards the kid crowd. You think Star Trek would ever venture back into animation and try something like that again if something like this is successful?
I really doubt that. I would say that Star Trek is probably me personally, I think the Star Trek is a television series. It works best in small increments where you can talk about political and social issues, and as well as, beating up the Gorn and creating a makeshift cannon, and just having fun in a way that you can also talk about some really in-depth, interesting issues. I'm interested to see what they have. I will definitely give it a go. I am still not happy with the model that they're putting out with this all access thing. Like, I don't want another, especially for one show. I could really care less about CBS's lineup. So the idea of just getting this for one show, I really do hope that this comes to, Vudu or iTunes. I'll get it there.
Well, to me, that's kind of the least thing that bothers me, because that's just the state of television now. It's in some kind of weird flux. It's got, it's still got the potential to it's going to make money. TV's like the money maker right now for a lot of people, but like how, with streaming and all that, whatever. What perplexes me about this series is not anything that I've seen. It's just another idea of this kind of like putting the show in the past between shows again, like and having it almost a prequel. Like, why not just go to the future again? Beyond Next Generation. Or
just make it another show. If they called this something different, if they called this something different and tweaked the Klingon design,
Yeah.
Because even the everything
They don't look like
they
Klingons.
don't, but well, they do look like Klingons from the J.J. Abrams timeline. So yeah,
whatever that is.
But
But that makes it even more confusing.
exactly. So like, call it a new show. Just call it something else and change that design of that alien, and you could keep everything else, and then just change the monogram on the uniforms and the symbolism. I know that that's not going to happen because the whole point of this is to feed off of the Star Trek lineage and line, because they're like, oh, I like Star Trek, ergo I will flop down my $10 a month for all access. So I understand why they're doing it. I just, again, it's like, just put something out original, and I think that it's going to be a lot less confusing, and you're going to have but also we're talking about it. We've talked about it for 20 minutes. If this was a new show, we haven't talked about the one on Fox, which is the one with Seth Meyers. Yeah.
Orville.
Seth MacFarlane's show. We haven't talked about that one. And but we've given.
I'd pay $10 a month off just the trailer for that.
Yeah, now see that one I'm much more excited about. That one looks a lot more Galaxy Quest Star Trek than the new Star Trek does. But you know what? We will see. And that's actually, I would say that from our entire conversation tonight, you could put that at the end of every single one of these conversations where, you know what? Looks interesting. We shall see.
We shall see.
And with that, let's move on to our I am never going to get this right.
Start it over.
And with that, let's move on to our recommendation. How do you guys say it?
I don't even say that. I say recommendad.
Or recommendads? But what about this?
I just say RecommenDADtions.
RecommenDADtions. Okay. With that, let's move on to our RecommenDADtions. Yeah, we're going to leave that whole 10 minutes of me mispronouncing it in the show. All right, Kenneth, start us off. Because this looks like it's pretty much in line with what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, my recommended is actually one in a series of art books produced by Marvel Studios. It's called The Art of Marvel Studios Spider-Man Homecoming. They produce one of these books for every one of these Marvel movies, starting with Iron Man 1 all the way through till now. And this is the latest one, just came out this month, I believe, on the 11th or 14th, something like that. But basically, this is mostly concept art, key art, design, character designs of before the movie was even being shot, just coming up with what it was going to look and feel like. All the pre-production art that was done for Spider-Man Homecoming. It's got a lot of interesting, different designs for how they could have went with Spidey's new costume. Some that harken back to Scarlet Spider from the comics. Some that rival
hometown hero.
Some that rival some of the Alex Ross designs that were even done for the original Spider-Man that was done by Sam Raimi in the early 2000s. I remember some of those, and there's some that look like that. But it's just every time they produce one of these books, they're about an inch thick. They got tons of art in it, and they have all of their artists talking about the design. So, from if you're a comic book fan, if you like art, or even if you just like this movie, check it out.
Okay, cool. So it's like a big comic.
Do you know if they have Do you know if they have a master book that contains everything?
Every kind of few years they'll do something I think when Age of Ultron came out, they did a book that was kind of the journey thus far, and they put a bunch
a phase one.
Yeah, they kind of put a bits from a couple of the books, up until that point in it, and kind of produced a book like that. There was just recently a big art exhibit in one of the Australian art museums, and they did that. They took a lot of art. They produced a book just for the exhibit that you could buy, which I purchased too, and it's got a lot of the art from those books. It's got some new art too. But yeah, every couple of years they'll kind of mash up. I would expect that by the time the Avengers movie rolls around, there'll probably some kind of book come out that will have a little bit from all these. But They make one for every single release.
And what are we talking about? What's this going to set me back?
I think it's about $35-$40. Let me pull up the link real quick. But they're not, some of the older ones get, they've gone out of print. This one's $38 on Amazon.
Is it like a big coffee table book kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like 1 inch by 10 inches. It's got a slip case to it.
Are there any coloring book pages in it?
No,
these are the only books I'm buying lately.
But this one's interesting because it's kind of the design of the book itself. It's kind of like a yearbook, a little bit of the Midtown Science high school that Peter goes to. So there's cool. Some of the pages have some little, signatures from students or drawings of Spider-Man that Peter would make. But yeah, they make one of these for every time, and they're all these big coffee table books.
Oh, cool.
So
awesome. Well, that sounds all right. Well, there's $40 out of my pocket right there. And all right, Richard, what do you have for me this week?
All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about some new things coming to Netflix. And I guess, I'm going to throw a couple recommendations out here. If you're into, like today we're talking about Comic-Con. If you're into superheroes, check out Daredevil on Netflix. Check out Jessica Jones. Maybe some Luke Cage. They're all good. Get ready for the Defenders. And the other thing coming to Netflix, if you haven't seen it yet, check out Stranger Things. It's a great 80s kind of nostalgia horror movie with horror adventure. Like it's if Goonies and what do we say? Oh, it's kind of if Goonies and E.T. and maybe Poltergeist had a baby. Yeah. All these just 80, if they all had one love fest, it's Stranger Things with starring Winona Ryder. Well, she's
and
in.
Is this
the kids are the stars,
and this is something that it's got kids in it, stuff like that. But I mean, what kind of age range would you say that we should watch this with?
It's dark. I wouldn't watch it with. I would say it's PG-13. I wouldn't watch it with my kid.
Of course, now I'm thinking that whenever I watch the original It.
What's it rated?
When I watched the original It, I really shouldn't have watched that. But yet it was so, it set such a tone, especially even with Poltergeist and actually all the movies you recommended. I mean, they were all PG 80s movies.
It's rated TV 14, so that's about a PG 13.
Right,
yeah,
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the best produced Netflix series out there, and there's quite a few they've done. There's some other good ones, but this one just for me,
House of Cards.
Yeah, and this one for me kind of hit on all of those things. It's a great nostalgia factor.
Yeah. And then also you could argue that this is like House of Cards. Yeah, we can go round and round like if that was really produced.
That's not for kids.
Well, no, if that was actually produced by Netflix because that was a little bit earlier in there. But anyway, that's
Joel Schumacher.
That's neither here nor there. Well, my recommendation is a little bit different. Mine is a bag. It's the Ebag.
It's a purse.
Well, I'm big on kits. I like having everything. Everything has a place, and when everything goes into that place, I feel much happier with my life. So I have like a dad bag. It's my weekend bag. It's small. I've got a couple of these actually. One's my 9 to 5 going to the office thing where the laptop goes in and everything's organized for my everyday carry so that I survive. And then I have a weekend bag, which is a little bit small. It's the smaller version of this. This is the one that's got all the kids' stuff in it. It's got my stuff in it as well. The thing that I really like about this bag is that it's real low profile. It's real, lean and thin. I can put my 15-inch MacBook in it, put the kids' iPad in it, and then I've got a nice little storage space for headphones, for toys. I've got a little everyday carry kit for the kid and stuff like that. Then it's got this and they're all L zippers. So you can, so, it doesn't open up all the way. It kind of opens up to one side. So stuff falling in and out. I've accidentally left a zipper open and nothing fell out of it, which is really
the
nice.
Material waterproof?
It is like water resistant to a little bit.
You could waterproof
it. It's not really waterproof. I have with my business one, I have walked through the rain with it and it didn't get to my laptop or anything like that. I don't think that
that's great.
They don't tout it as that, but the laptop section is really far back there. It's the one that's next to your body. The two standout things that I really like are the flap on the very top kind of folds completely out and has a lot of organizational pockets in it and stuff like that. I really like that part of it. And then the bottom has a container that's crush proof. It actually has a hard shell. The whole thing has a small rigid shell in it. It's like a soft shell. So it maintains its shape and it'll stand up by itself. So if you've got everything, you can just, you're at the coffee shop or whatever, you just put it down and it'll stand up on its base by itself. But the bottom has this hard shell that's actually removable. If you need more space, you can pop it out. But I put my power, hard drive, anything like that goes into that hard shell. Or if if you're one of those people that buy expensive sunglasses, you could put them in there. I buy the $8 sunglasses, so I really don't care very much. But I put all sorts of valuables and stuff like that in that crush proof case, which I find is really nice. And it's removable. So if you just need that, you can pull it and it has its own zipper. So you can zip that up. I find that that's really cool. It's got a water bottle, little pouch on the side that's retractable, which for me, I like to keep it all lean and nice looking. So whenever I need it, I unzip it and put the water bottle in there. And when I don't, I pull it out. It's got a little, it's got tons of little pockets. Another cool thing that I like is that the shoulder straps are removable and they tuck in to it. So it becomes like a briefcase style, which is great when you're traveling with a kid and you're getting in the airplane and you're putting up your carry-on luggage, because the larger one that I have, that can be used for like a little 3-day trip and stuff like that. But getting on the plane with the kid and you got this as your backpack, you shove those straps in and there's nothing to grab to, catch onto other seats and stuff like that when you're going through the plane. I really like that. It just keeps it really nice, lean and thin. So it's the Ebag. It's a little bit pricey. You can find it on Amazon for $119. So about $120. But to me, it is well worth it. It's a well-built backpack and it keeps your stuff safe and it looks good. And for me, a modern dad, those are two things. They're worth the price of admission.
Dad approved.
Dad approved.
1 out of 3 dads recommend ads it.
Exactly. And with that, Richard, where can people find us?
Yeah, so if you're looking for the Legion of Dads, you can find us at Legion of Dads on Facebook. And we're also at Legion of Dads on Twitter.
And as always, we like to end the show with the last laugh, our dad joke of the week. Who's on board for the dad joke of the week this week?
I think I have a terrible joke in my pocket.
So Kenneth, tell us you have the last laugh. Tell us the dad joke of the week.
Hey guys, what's invisible and smells like carrots?
I don't know, Kenneth. What is invisible and smells like carrots?
Rabbit farts.
Oh.
And with that, we're out. Thank you, Legion.